The number of mortgagee sales has recently risen. We've also seen that there could be up to 145,000 Aussies that might need to sell their home. So let's dive in. Let's have a look at the details and see what's actually going on. And is this something to be concerned about? So starting off from the top, we've seen the number of Australians distressed selling their home has recently increased. Now, the long-term figures show that the mortgagee rate of sales is still lower than the volume taken to the market during the crunch period of the pandemic. And the Ray White Group had data showing that the national mortgagee sales kicked up in the last 3 months of July. And I suppose this has a lot to do with the interest rate increases. We're going to go through the numbers in a minute and see how many mortgagees for sale and if this is actually an issue. But I guess the main thing is we saw the removal of the mortgage freeze repayments during COVID, which actually created some cushioning for the banks, which a lot of homeowners felt during that period. So this could be some reasons why we're seeing an uptick in mortgagee sales. And the distress listings actually peaked at 250 properties in October 2021. Now, it has dropped over the last 6 months up until April, and Ray White Research identifies listings with the word mortgagee in it, which they started tracking from 2020. Now, they've said that they've seen a pickup in mortgagee sales. However, at this point, it still remains relatively low compared to the pandemic period. And I guess this is mainly due to the increase in rates, cost of living, higher debts. It's been felt across Australia. So we can see the graph here with mortgagee listings. It is relatively low if we think, 250 mortgagee listings across Australia doesn't feel like a great deal of number. That was the peak period in October. We're currently sitting maybe around that 175 mark. As you can see, there's probably been a slight uptick from maybe 140 or 130 previously in the last 3 months. So a little bit of an increase here. I definitely don't think it's any cause for concern here. We also saw another thing where the rate rise pain might see that 145,000 Aussies sell their home. Once again, is this something that's just a media attention grab, or is this fact and something that we should be aware of? Well, let's take a look. Aussie homeowners are definitely feeling the pinch after the Reserve Bank increased their cash rate for the 4th month in a row with interest rates soaring. Now we're finding that many may be forced to sell their homes, according to new research from FINA. So FINA, they did a survey of Australians, and they revealed 1 in 5, which was equivalent to about 551,000 mortgage holders, would struggle to meet their mortgage repayments if the rate was to increase by 3%. Now, look, that's 3% on top of all the rate rises that we've already seen. So that's going to be a huge increase. Current variable rates are in around that 4.5% in the high threes, depending on the lender. So getting to a 7% rate, absolutely, I think that's going to have a huge effect on a lot of people, and it would cause them to sell. Now, based on the CommBank's data and Westpac and all them, they're saying rates are only likely to go up and peak at a cash rate of 2.6 to 3.35, which is another 0.75 to 1.5% on where we are at the moment. So it might be unlikely that we would see rates increase as high as what the FINA survey has asked. And maybe that question should have been targeted about, another 1% or 1.5% instead of such a high increase. Now, what they found from the survey was that 14% said they might fall behind on the repayments of and other bills. 5% reported they'd struggle and consider selling their home. So what that equated to is about 145,000 homeowners. Now, I think, once again, the rate rise question they've asked is quite significant. So I can see why 5% might say that they need to sell their home, particularly as they're struggling, and a lot of people are struggling with the cost of living crisis, and that certainly being a big thing. The research found about half of the surveillance said that they'd be able to manage a 3% hike. They just need to cut down some of their spending, whilst 25% said they wouldn't need to change anything with their lifestyle and spending habits remaining the same. Now, whilst selling your property is probably an extreme measure in this situation, I think the question was a very extreme question as well. So it certainly should be your last option. the first thing you can always explore is comparing different loan options and seeing if you can shave a little bit off your loan. Even if it's 0.5%, it all makes a difference. Now, that's it for today, guys. If you have any questions, hit us up in the comments below, and we'll catch you next time.